If you're guessing your speaking fee or letting planners decide it for you, you're leaving money on the table and hurting your credibility. Yes, doesn't sound good to hear it that way, but it's the truth, right? All of us have to keep our minds around the idea that there's a lot of ways to be able to put our price out there, but what our rate is, it matters, right? So one of the most common questions speakers ask me truly is like, how much should I charge? It's probably a question you're asking yourself now, like, how do I put myself in a box and have this rate? And what if it's too high? But I don't want to outprice myself. I really want that speech, but I want to get paid the most, and I don't want to charge so much I lose it. Sound familiar? So the idea is you want to be able to do this properly, but the real issue isn't the number. It's the strategy behind the number. That's where it all comes to play. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to price yourself intelligently at every single stage of your speaking career, because truthfully, this can make or break things. And if you get the right numbers in early and understand how you can adjust things properly, what ends up happening is you have some great success. And it can happen faster than you honestly think, but do it improperly, you might struggle more than you need to, and it's not necessary. So let me get my handy dandy pen, which for some reason I can't seem to find now that I'm sitting here in front of you. And I need that pen because it's how I write on the board. We'll just use a different pen, I guess, for now, and we'll do it small. So the first thing is we're going to call it point one. Point one, you could read that, I believe. Point one is your fees reflect positioning, not confidence. Fees reflect positioning, which is taking forever, isn't it? Not confidence. So what I mean by that is when you are in a position to share your fee, here's what I charge, right? It's not so much a confidence around your ability to speak on stage or confidence around what you speak about. It reflects where you are positioned, right? Pricing is a market signal. It tells us how good you are and how great you can deliver. Think about it this way. If you wanted to buy a luxury bag, right? You might look at a bunch of different bags, but ideally you're going to look in the realm of like a Louis Vuitton or like a Prada or like a Gucci or I don't know, the nice bags, right? And if you look at most of these bags, that the Birkin bag is expensive, and they came to find those Birkin bags, they're selling for $20,000, $30,000, $55 to $100 to make. Right? So the idea is it's not based on the value in a sense of like what it costs for the materials. It's actually brand positioning, because they can put the price super high because, well, for them, it's that value, right? You're positioning yourself in the marketplace, signaling I'm top tier. And low fees, they honestly signal beginner, even if you're not a beginner. That doesn't mean that you can't charge more if you don't have the skill set, but think about this. Your price should align with your audience, your value in terms of the actual value you bring, and more so, most importantly, the outcome. Now, you could also tie it to the experience that you're delivering, in terms of on stage for the results, but more importantly, it's the outcome. You should be pricing in a position based on what you know about how to get people to the outcome. See, most speakers are pricing themselves off of experience and how well they can speak. I'm telling you right now, I have been a person who has been at venues where they have 10,000 people I'm speaking to, and I'm up there for 20 minutes getting paid $25,000, where somebody after me goes up for 60 minutes for 100,000 who is not as skilled as me. Now, I'm not saying this to knock anybody in any way, but I'm watching them and I go, yeah, that is not the best performance I've seen from a speaker. They're paid so much. Why? Because of the information and the outcome they provide. They provide something a little higher for that demographic than I could provide. I'm not an SME or a subject matter expert in the area that audience needs from that person. That person holds more weight for that demographic, that industry, right? The result that they provide for people is more than I can provide in that realm. Now, take them to a different realm, HVAC or sales, they wouldn't get charged. They'd be able to pay that much. They wouldn't be able to charge that much at all and get the same fee. But here's the thing. When they are pricing themselves, they price themselves high on purpose, and rightly so, because now what happens is their price and aligns with the people that need them, the outcome they provide, and the experience that comes with delivering that result. But you have to make sure you put a high price, because honestly, you won't get a speech if you are the lowest common denominator. No one wants the weakest thing on their stage. They want the person they can brag and go, we paid X to get the best person up there. This speaker was there, right? Here's another example. When I was early on in my career, like 2016, 17, I had got an opportunity to hop on a phone call with an Amazon company that needed a speaker to come down to, I believe it might have been like Dominican Republic, to give a speech to their international group. And they reached out to me. That means that they saw something from me and some marketing purposes out in the world, and they went, you know what? That guy right there, he's at the level that we need. In their head, there was a certain rate probably attached to what I was going to charge. Now, I hop on a phone call with them. They get going back and forth. They love it. They go, great, sounds like a great fit. What's your fee? And I quoted them. Here's the thing. At that time, my fee was about 7,500. And I go, I'm going to stretch a little bit here. My fee is 10,000. Let me go up 10,000. Uncomfortably, I said, and they go, oh, thanks. We were looking for about a $15,000 plus keynote though. Done with the conversation. They got off. Thank you though. Goodbye. What? Hold on. I'll take 15, right? Here's the crazy part. I lost the speech because I didn't charge enough. And it taught me quickly, go high. You can negotiate down properly if you do it with integrity with what's called speech inclusions, but go high. Let them talk you down, right? But if you come in low, they're already signaling this is a price that is below the market level of what we want. And so now what happens, I realize you got to make sure you shoot high and let them talk you down. But if you go below, you could lose it. I have lost it. It was the weirdest, suckiest conversation because I'm sitting here going, wait a second, like I will gladly charge them. I'll take more money, but if I'd have just said 15,000, I'd have got the gig. If I'd have doubled my rate, I'd have got the gig. And if I charge 15, they go, we only got 10 in the budget. No worries. I'll make adjustments and I can bring it down to 10, right? I could have done that, but it's hard to go, oh, no, I'll charge 5,000 more. You see what I'm saying, right? You got to do it properly so it signals where you see yourself in the market. Now, the second point, hey, I hope you're enjoying this video right now. Now, I want to let you know that I developed a speaker quiz that reveals what your speaker type is, the strength of your type, and more importantly, how to capitalize on that type to build an impactful and income-producing speaking business. To get this quiz and take it and get the information you need, simply hit the link you see below in the description, or you can wait till the end of the video to head over and check it out. All right, that's it. Let's get back to it. Is the 3 fee levels most speakers move through, I'll call it. So we'll call it 2, if I can get this right, the 3 fee levels. Now, here's how these things work. Essentially, entry level is what's called proof building. Strategic, free, or low-paid talks get you in the door. Now, the big thing for this is you want to get marketing assets. You want to get proof of concept that people actually like this. And you want to see if you can get people from the audience who do not know you're doing it for cheap or for free to be able to pay you more. So there's a lot of little strategic plays within this whole process. But you're essentially building proof that you're a speaker. This is where you get phenomenal testimonials. You get great case studies. You get feedback from you being on stage. You get video footage to use later on for marketing to higher stages. But that's the intro piece. So it's going to be usually where everybody starts. I don't know anybody that starts out and just out of the gates is charging $25,000, $50,000, $100,000, right? Even if you're phenomenal at what you do, you still got to get yourself kind of like cut your teeth a little bit in the speaking industry. Eventually you can climb. Now there are going to be some outliers. Your CEOs of large companies, like that kind of, it's a different monster. Those people are entering a space where it's just a draw. People sit there and listen to them talk about making their breakfast. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's a different space. Just starting though, entry level is going to be around like, well, in my opinion, around $2,000, maybe $5,000 max in that entry level, and zero, free to about $5,000, right? Then you have what's called mid-level. This is consistent paid gigs with strong testimonials. This is where you're making around $7,500 to maybe $15,000, $20,000 in that window. And this is a person that's actually doing some high-level stuff. This is a person that's coming out, they got consistent gigs because they're known in an industry or an area to be the one to talk about this thing. They have really strong testimonials, which means tons of social proof. People look at them as an individual that has draw. They want them on their stage. They're fond of their content, seeing what they're posting. They want to get that person to their stage and serve their people, right? The third is going to be what's called high level. This is outcome driven. This is authority-based pricing. You are putting something out here that goes, look, I am the authority on this. It is $100,000. It's $150,000. Like there are people that I personally know that charged $250,000 a keynote, and they get it because they are the authority. Like there's no one else better than them at that thing. And they're able to drive an outcome for that company that provides an amazing solution and so much draw because their name is prominent. It's kind of like a flywheel that spins from mid-level up to high. Now, I believe that the end of mid-level is around that 30 to 40,000, and it goes from about 40,000 on up. Because past 40,000, the high level, it's a little bit of fame. It's some draw. It's a best-selling, New York Times best-selling book. It's you were on a TV show. You were a politician. You owned a company or a CEO that exited, and you're known, right? There's different separation because those people are brought in for the draw. So they're investing $100,000, $150,000 to have so-and-so come to speak on that stage. But at the exact same time, they know that person on the stage is bringing them ticket sales and more business besides that. So it's a different kind of level of what they're looking for, which is why they charge more. Now, each level, it has a definitive purpose. Staying too long in one is a mistake. You should be climbing in terms of the bottom two and then eventually climb into that high level where things can get consistent growth and you can have an amazing speaking business. But you got to build into that by starting at entry to mid and then going up. Now, point three, what actually justifies higher fees? So what justifies, I hope you can read this, higher fees. Higher fees. Boom. So what justifies higher fees? If I can make an S out of that, I feel like I should bend down to write that next time. First thing, clear framework. Well, obviously, it's a big message. You have to have a core message that's bar none the big separator. If you've ever heard my videos when we talk about this, if you don't have a very, very powerful, unique message, you will struggle because I'm not going to know what you bring compared to the person next to you in the same demographic or topic area. And I really got to figure out, what do you do differently? If your message rises at the top, now all of a sudden, that's a message my people need. Let's rock and roll with it, right? So that's a big piece. Secondly, your message is a promise. Your promise needs a process to have them arrive at your promise, right? Your promise needs a process to help them arrive at your promise. I hope I said it slow enough for you to get that. But the idea is that's a framework. What is your process or framework to get to the promise of what my message is? It allows you to separate yourself from everybody else because now it's not you just talking about a cool concept. You're going to help the audience be able to take this information and apply it to their lives to have what's called next day impact. Impact literally starting tomorrow from what they heard you talk about today, right? Which creates what's called tangible business impact. Most speakers aren't thinking about that. They're not even paying attention to this whole thing. They're like, oh, I'm just going to talk up there. No. Your job is to create a tangible outcome for them tomorrow. Like, what can they learn from this to be both inspired, but also informed so they can transform, right? Inspired, informed, to transform. It's a big key piece of it. So you want to have what's called also post-event engagement options, workshops, consulting, coaching, books. Have things that can go beyond that stage to serve them even deeper. And then this reduces risks for planners because now they're like, this is a safe bet. This person does a good job. They're going to make me look really well in terms of my name out there, backing this person. And then over time, your fees rise with perceived value. Right? So what happens is you're seen as better, you're seen as more. Now you can charge more. Magical idea, right? Because you've positioned yourself properly to doing the different things to make sure you can raise things up. So it's going to be your skill set, your frameworks, your message, all those things justify a higher fee. And now your notoriety rises as well. So next one, how do you talk about your fee confidently? So fee confidently. What this is your ability to hop onto a phone call and tell somebody, look, my fee is $25,000. And I'm telling you, because this is actually my fee. I'm $25,000 a keynote. This, to be honest, is not earth-shattering. I love my job. I love what I get to do. I want to make more, and I will make more this next year as I kind of grow my own rates. But the idea is like, I do not even bat an eye at saying I charge $25,000 for a keynote. But the thing is I don't apologize for my price. I know the value that I bring, and I can confidently say it because I've been paid that many times, and people have thanked me for serving on that stage because I do a good job. And they've paid other people the same amount who didn't do as good of a job, right? So the idea is you want to find a speaker or you want to be a speaker that when you go up there and you talk, like, you're confident in your price because that confidence you have can be absorbed by them, then go, oh, shoot, like, all right, cool. Because you've done the work in advance. When you quote your price, they're interested. Now we talk through it. And your actual anchor to the fee is the outcome, not your time on stage. I've been paid $25,000 for 5 minutes, for 20 minutes, for 45 minutes, and for 60 minutes. Just so we're clear, that is not the same exact keynote. Sometimes the 5 minutes different than the 20, and 20 is different from the 45 and the 60. It happens. But I've been paid that same amount for 5 minutes. Crazy to me, but they wanted it. I'm like, sure, let's go do it, right? So the idea is I am paid for the outcome. I'm paid for the value delivered to a demographic that's in front of me. And so what the idea is, you have to think about when you're communicating this, hey, here's what this does for your organization. Imagine a team of dominators on your company's executive level leadership going out to the world and showing all the different people that are their team they're leading how to show up, how to coach, how to teach, how to lead. Imagine what it would be like having a group of dominators versus a group of submitters who are submitting to the weakness, submitting to the fear, submitting to excuses. You don't want those people on your team. I will teach you how to get people desiring to be and how to be a dominator through dark work, right? So I'm delivering a value to your people. It's not just me telling a cool story to entertain and inspire. It's way more than that. Confidence in pricing builds trust. So when I price this thing at this level, because I know my thing, it actually builds trust. They're like, this guy's either got to be genuinely crazy or he's worth that. And I'm not crazy. So it works, right? Now, the last point is build a pricing ladder, not a single fee if you can. So 5, pricing ladder. Now, you don't have to do this. I recommend this when it comes to a ladder to reverse down. So you do want to have a single fee for the keynote that it can go down. But the biggest thing I want you to think about with this, it's not just for the keynote, it's for layers beyond this actual speech. And so this is going to be a little more of a deeper think, but think about it this way. If I'm quoting myself at 25,000, I can go down based on removing what I call speech inclusions. These are things that come along with me as a speaker that I can take off the table to negotiate down with integrity. However, when I'm doing a keynote, that's not all I can do. I can do workshops, I can do consulting, I can do ongoing and teaching engagements, I can do books, I can do a lot of different things. And so what I want to do is make sure that I have a ability to have a pricing ladder. More options equals more conversions, realistically, because I can do more without discounting my rate. So I can say, hey, I'm going to do a keynote for you, but the real transformation is going to be me taking that keynote and then transitioning from talking about it to having them do it with me in a workshop, or to have me consult your team long-term with this. Now, if we do the consulting and we do the keynote, separate, the keynote's $25,000 and the consulting is gonna be, we'll call it workshop. The workshop's gonna be $30,000 for a workshop for up to a full day of 8 hours, right? So that together would be about $55,000. If you want to do both, I'll do both right now, but it'll be $45,000. You'll save $10,000 by putting them both together. So I can have a ladder that includes different things. Because now it's like, shoot, that's awesome. We can pay a little bit more and be able to have a consultant/workshop situation take place where I'm keynoting and workshopping. It's all coming together. We move forward from there. See what I'm saying? So there's ways to be able to leverage your framework properly into more coaching and consulting. This is how revenue scales without speaking a whole bunch more also. If you don't want to be on a stage and have be the only place you make revenue, you've got to think about how you can have a ladder of progressive, or I'll call it ascension, of solutions for them. Workshops, consulting, books, teaching, whatever it may be, so you can take this speech and turn it into actionable steps for them and their team. Now, for me, this is a thing where you shouldn't guess. Like the right fee, it's not a guess, and hopefully I figured out, it's a strategy. You think through it. If you want specifics, I recommend saying start about 5,000, 7,500, go for broke. If you want help pricing yourself with clarity and confidence, head to speaktofreedom.com. If you want more videos from me, I got them coming. Just stick around and I'll see you in the next video.